Cheers, appreciate that. Tell you what, keep the change.
There are a lot of urban myths surrounding the knowledge, most of which are to do with the face-to-face examinations that take place here.
It's pretty straightforward, really. There are 5 stages. The first 2 stages, the first stage is the initial talk, the second stage is the exam. It's not until you get to stage 3, which we call 56 days, where they actually sit down and have an oral examination, one-to-one with an examiner. This can last sort of 20 minutes to half an hour.
The half-an-hour appearance is so that you can actually talk to them. I suppose like warm them up, prepare them for the questions, take some details about themselves, explain the systems up here, how we do things, the scoring system, etc., before you start asking them questions.
At this time we ask them sort of general runs that they've learned, big stuff like the big stations in London, the big mainline stations, police stations, stuff like that, big hotels, and then stage 4 would be 28 days. There's a 28-day gap between appearances. Obviously, because they're coming up a lot in a shorter amount of time, the sort of stuff we might ask are now like restaurants, stuff like that, maybe bars, maybe sort of government offices, and they'll be expected to know that and run between each one more confidently.
Obviously, when you go into the appearance, they're pretty much nervous, and examiner asks me, the Institute for the Blind, and I turn around and I says, Featherstone Street, so he says, no, that's wrong. So I said, Judge Street, sir. He says, correct. Started to do the run, and ended up running to the wrong place.
It happens though, because it's your nerves.
Take over. They take over.
And it gets more and more pressure because the further they get, the questions get harder. And then eventually after 28 days it goes down to 21 days. Every 3 weeks are up here. And that is even more pressure because the questions really get hard then. Because we're on the verge of preparing them to go out in the outside world driving a black cab. So they should be able to answer any questions we put to them.
It's an amalgamation of all this together and to see the confidence coming out so that they can get from A to B in a very quick and confident way, and that we're happy that they're going the right way, basically.
All of those appearances, they will be tested thoroughly on the 6-mile radius from Charing Cross Station. Having completed those runs and appearances and questions, they will then be tested on the 6-mile radius to the edge of their licensed areas and Heathrow Airport and the City of London Airport.
Give me your card, Mr. Dunn. Shut the door. We'll take a seat.
When we say they need to go from A to B in the shortest route is the legal route with no illegal right turns or left turns or U-turns. They have to go the legal route.
Okay. Could you take me please from Wimbledon Station and we'll go to City Airport.
Okay, that'll be at Wimbledon Bridge to Hartman Road. Leave on the right Wimbledon Bridge, then we'll go right Alexander Road, comply roundabout, leave by Gap Road.
We need to know the runs both ways because they're not necessarily the same. Due to one-way streets, roundabouts, no right turns, no left turns, the runs may be different and quite often are.
You go in there and you're really nervous, you're shaking, and you're calling the run and you think to yourself, oh, they ain't looking, and you're looking, you're like calling your eye and they're looking at you. You think to yourself, oh no, I don't know where I'm going or what, and then you just hope you're going to join the line, and then as you get on a few more roads now, you start joining the line, and then they turn around and say, yeah, that'll do for today. And you think to yourself, no, I've got a day, I've not scored today. And then you get your card and you're looking in with the corner of your eye, but you don't want to make him know that you're looking. When you're booking out, you say, oh, I've scored today. Fly down them stairs again.
Right, as regards to the scoring system, the candidates are graded as regards to, there are, say, 4 questions from point A to point B. And as regards to the way they've answered it, or perhaps they didn't know some points, or how wide they will get graded accordingly. They'll either get an A, which is worth 6 points, a B, which is worth 4 points, a C, which is worth 3 points, a D is the other grade, which is nothing. And they're allowed, the idea is to total 12 points to go forward to the next stage. And they are allowed a maximum of 7 appearances to get those 12 points. So to be quite honest, say the person gets a C on his first appearance, so he's got 3. Well, that's what people generally aim for, and that's what I would aim for if I was starting again, is trying to get a basic 3 points, get a C.
It's really strange though, because you walk up there and you think, I'm going to die in a minute. But then you score and you come down, you can fly down them stairs. So easy.
No, but somebody had said to you, you know, if you were talking to somebody and they were doing the knowledge and they were going for an appearance and you'd not done it, you'd just think, oh, give us a break. Do you know what I mean? But until you've done it, it's the worst thing I've ever done in my life, going for an appearance.
Saying you can't explain how hard it is.
If you get four Cs, you've got your 12 points in 4 appearances. But along the way, you may well get a D or 2 Ds. And that's when it puts pressure on the candidate, because if you've got a candidate in front of you who's on his 7th and last appearance, now that will decide whether he's going to go forward. Now, first of all, because he's had 7 appearances, or he's had 6 appearances prior to that, 3 he's scored on and 3 he hasn't, which means to me, as an examiner, he's touch and go. Some he's good, some he's bad. So now we've got to feel confident of him that he's good enough to go forward to the next stage, because we all know that when he gets to 28 days, the questions get harder. He's up here every month, this is every 2 months. The questions get harder, and if he can't cope on 56 days, he will go back. So as regards that 7th appearance, so say for instance he got a D, which means he hasn't got his 12 points, he would lose his 9 points and get redlined and put back to the beginning. So we now give him another 7 attempts to restore his confidence, to try and get him through to get into 28 days. Obviously if he gets his score, he goes forward to 28 days of the red line, and obviously the same scoring system on each stage.
I knew that I'd put the work in, so when I went up there I thought, you know, if I score, I score. I know I've done the work, I'm not trying to bluff it in any way, shape or form, and I really did enjoy it. It was nice. If you've done the work and you get asked the questions, 9 times out of 10 you'll be able to answer them correctly.
You forget everything before you go in there. Everything is a blank that you've learned, but you know, once you get going, you try and do your best. But it doesn't always work, but you can only do your best.
Tip really for passing the knowledge would be definitely to make sure you're fluent at your Blue Book. The higher degree of fluency you reach with the Blue Book tends to dictate that you will go through rather quicker than someone who's not. Your whole vocabulary stems from how well you call your Blue Book. And one of the things that is difficult is when you are in an appearance, you're under a lot of duress, and the fluency to which you call your Blue Book is how easily you're going to find it to retrieve those words that you need within the appearance. So just reach a high standard of fluency.
Well, after all that hard work, you'll be glad to know that you're nearly there. Just stick with it a little longer and it will all be worth it.